Okay, what we're going to do here is we're going to first, to connect our Power BI to Azure Databricks, we have to have a cluster set up for our data. So we go to SQL Warehouse and we go to a cluster we already have established. First of all, you're going to need the server host name, so you want to copy that somewhere. And then you're going to need the HTTP path, which is the SQL endpoint ID. Okay, so you're going to need both of those. Then you're going to also need to create, in this demo, a token. So you'll go down to User Settings, and in User Settings you go to Developer. Okay, and then we will go to Access Token and Manage. So inside of Access Token, we're going to go to the Generate New Token. And there we're going to write what it's made for. Okay, so in this one, the Power Demo. All right, Power BI Demo. And this is good for 90 days. You can make it longer if you'd like. Actually, this is going to last about 30 minutes because after we're done, I'm going to erase it. So there is a token. You have to remember that and keep a copy of that somewhere, okay? And we're going to use that also as we go into creating our connection in Power BI. So let's go ahead over and we're going to start up. Okay, first of all, let's copy the token, and then we're going to go into Power BI and start that up, and we're going to go to Get Data. So there's a new Power BI report. Okay, so I'm going to type in Databricks here, and it will locate the Databricks, and I'm going to use Azure Databricks and connect. Now, when it goes to connect, it's going to ask me for basically my cluster information. So here, I'm going to use that server host name, which I showed you before. So let's just go get it real quick. And it's right there. So let's copy that. Go back to our Power BI authentication screen. Actually, it's not authentication screen. It's our the cluster screen. And this HTTP path, it looks misleading because it doesn't say cluster or SQL Analytics or anything. So what we're going to do here is we're going to grab the SQL piece of the JDBC URL, and we're going to copy that piece into that URL, into that path. Okay? Now, the rest of it you can fill out yourself. That's if you want to customize your select. We're not going to do that in this case. Or down at the bottom, you have import and direct query. So we're going to choose import. Now, we have our cluster information. And next, it's asking us for authentication to Databricks. And there, in this case, we're going to use the token. So we copied the token to their notepad, and we're going to paste that in. So we paste that in. We hit connect, and now it's connecting to the cluster, okay, that we gave it credentials for also earlier. So after that, we're going to get a screen of our Hive database inside of the Databricks, and inside that metastore, we're going to have all our databases. In our case, we're going to look at one demo database, and we're going to open that up. And there's a bunch of checkboxes there, so you check the tables that you want to load into your report. So we're going to load country and city. Okay, and then we're going to go down and we're going to click on load. Okay, now it's going to load. Since it's in import mode, it's going to load all the data into memory. And so as you see in the little dialog box that it's loading the data for country and city. And when that's done, we'll continue. Okay. So next, we'll just go ahead and look at it, pull some of those columns onto a screen so that we can see We're going to pull some of those columns onto a screen so that we can see what it looks like. So I'm going to put country name, and then we're going to put city name. There we go. So what happened? Something wrong happened here. So we're going to change it over to a table. That should probably fix that. So we'll go to table, and we'll click on table. That changes it to a table, but it's still not showing it. It says fix this. So if we hit fix this, it's saying something about the relationships. So apparently it doesn't have any relationships between the two tables. So we go in here, and actually that's correct. We forgot to add the state table, which would be the one in between both of those. That would connect everything together. So now we're going to go ahead and we need to add the state back in. So where do we go from now? Here, rather. We're going to go to, let's see, we're going to go to data settings, but there's really nothing there. We can't change the source. We can't go into it at this point. So let's close that. And we're going into transform. In transform, we can go into the source. We can also go into recent sources. So let's go in there. And there's our latest connection. So let's click on that. And as you see, it pulls up our Hive database again, our Hive Metastore rather. And we go into one demo. And we'll go ahead and load state, province, and hit OK. And we're going to use import mode and say OK. And now it's going to bring in state also. So now we have all three. Now, since we have the naming convention for foreign keys and primary keys all set up already, it should automatically, when we refresh it, connect our tables together. So let's see what happens here. So it's loading, and it looks like it built our connections. I'm going to rearrange the tables in a way that I like to do it. So I think we're going to have country on the left. No, I think we're going to do country on the left. Let's do country on the left, city on the right. Okay, so it's kind of like top down. So country, states are in countries and cities are in states, right? So now this all looks kind of logical. And now all of a sudden we do see our two data values, and we're going to add state description also. And now we got all three. Okay, and we're going to line them up, and we're good to go. So now the report is finished, more or less, and there we go. We can just make a matrix out of it and let it do that. Oh, looks like yeah, let's get that, and that way we can just drill down. Okay. All right, so you see how that works. Everything is looking good, and our connection was successful. Okay. Now, let's say that we have come in and we had deleted our token had run out, okay, and also our cluster had also been deleted. So now we have two things: we can't authenticate with that token, and we can't get to our tables either. So because the cluster's not working. So now we've created a new cluster. All right. And I'm going back into the database now. I'm going back into the report after I cleared those two before, because I just want to show this example. So I come back into the report. Of course, it's going to show up fine because we haven't done a refresh. It's only when we do it because everything's stored in the report in memory. So, but when we do a refresh, it's going to try to use all those connection information. It's going to find our cluster's not there, and it's going to find our tokens not there. So let's go ahead and try that. we'll do a refresh data. Okay, so there we go. We're going to do refresh data. And here we go. It's trying to refresh, and it's finding out we're not authenticated, and the clusters doesn't exist. So since I don't want to create another personal access token this time, I'm just going to go in and use Active Directory to authenticate instead of a token. So I go in there, I sign in. It gives me my sign-in account, and I put in my code. Okay, let's see if I can get that code in there. Because I do have okay, so I got the code in. I'll verify. Now it's authenticating. It still isn't finding that cluster yet. You see that's erroring out on the cluster part. So it's saying it can't access the table. So let's close that. Let's go back into the table icon on the left. All right, I'll go to the table icon on the left. And we go to change our settings, but we can't change it there. You see the change source doesn't allow it to change. So we close. Global doesn't work either. So we go and close that. We'll go to File, and we'll go to Open, Options and Settings, Data Source Settings, and we can't change it there either, like we can, like maybe if you had an Excel or something like that, or in some other cases. But in Databricks, you can't do that. So we'll go to Transform, and see all the yellow. None of them work because the cluster they belong to is no longer there. I deleted it. So what we're going to do is go find the new cluster, and we're going to put that into this area here. All right. So let's go, and we'll go find the other cluster. You also actually could go into source and reset it up here. You can do it either way. So let's cancel out of that, and let's go find our new cluster ID. So we'll hop over to cluster ID, our cluster. There's our cluster, our new cluster. And we'll go to connection details, and we will go over to where it has the JDBC URL, and we'll copy. This time we'll just copy the SQL endpoint and just overwrite it inside of the advanced editor. So we come in here, and we go to advanced editor. We locate the old SQL endpoint ID, and I just go ahead and replace it and hit save. So now our country should be fine, and it should show up a whole listing of country. Okay. Okay, well, actually, it's going to make us authenticate again. I'm going to put my Active Directory account in. Once you do this, though, it saves it, and you don't have to keep redoing this until something else doesn't work. So I'm going to put in a new code. I get on my telephone, and verify. Connect. Okay, it's connecting to it's authenticating, then it's connecting to the cluster for that particular country table, and I think we're going to be good to go in just a moment. Even though it's a serverless cluster, it still takes a couple seconds to start up. So there's our countries, very little table. Let's do city. We already have it in our clipboard, the SQL endpoint. ID, just overwrite that one and hit save. And the same with the next, and there it is. Let's go to the other one. We didn't have to re-authenticate. And now we go to state province, do the same. And we are, we're there. Okay, just replace them. Hit save. And let's go back. Okay, everything looks good. So let's go back, close and apply. And let's go back. I think we need to, okay, it's refreshing, which is good. Let's see if we get any error messages. I don't think we will. So, okay, it returned everything. Okay, so we got it to refresh. So everything is working again. And that's it. All the relationships would come back together, and it's a working report again. All right, thanks for watching.